Hello again, and welcome to Staff Training Day 2, Part 5, where we're going to be covering tips and tricks on how to be a good or great facilitator for IBT_2018. I would like to start by making a few announcements and requests to you. Kindly make sure that you follow the instructions, because in day 1 we did give a few instructions and I did see that a lot of people didn't follow them, and I'll explain now. The other requests an announcement that I want to make now is that can you kindly watch day 1 part 7, where you're going to meet the IBT core team, because I do not work by myself. There is a core team that is based both at UCT and at the University of Witwatersrand, who make up the IBT core team for 2018. And most of them have been actually doing this for the past 2 years. And as you may know, I just started a few months ago. I'm gonna show you also what I want you to kindly do at some point. I'm gonna take you to Vula now, because some of you, as you can see on my screen, were supposed to, according to the instructions given in day 1, fill in, or rather go onto Vula, go into the question and discussion forum, staff training. So go into the forum 1, staff training, and there is challenges and solutions under that. If you either couldn't access this because you don't have an account, kindly email me or pop me a chat on Adobe Connect while we live, and I'll kindly add you onto Vula so that you can complete this, because some of the activities that I'm going to be asking people to do is that they go to challenges and solutions, and it would be nice if you get to complete that. Let's move on with day 2, part 5, tips and tricks. And it's gonna be a bit lighthearted at times. So tips and tricks for facilitating active learning, right? So there's different kinds of ways of teaching and also of learning. Active learning is learning by doing, while passive learning is just sitting down and being like a sponge and absorbing information without actually actively participating. And I think we want to move, or rather the drive for IBT is to see students actively learn instead of passively learn. Facilitating is a way of interacting, asking questions, valuing opinions, information flowing in all directions, as we've previously covered as well, to say teaching is different from facilitation, and you as teaching assistant are more of facilitators actually. I want to read a quote by Confucius, a philosopher who said something quite powerful. He said, and I quote, "I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand." I think in most, I was schooled in a situation where in primary school we were given information and we heard and we regurgitated that information as was. We didn't critically think or analyze or anything. It was just a situation of, so it took me time and years to get over that poor schooling system in a way. And I think speaking to this quote is that when you hear something, you forget. So, I mean, I don't remember what I did in grade 2 or what they taught me in grade 4. It's only later on when I started actually being able to tangibly touch things and do practicals and go to labs and, laboratories and do things, that I began to understand and remember all the knowledge that I was given. I just wanted to speak about that, to say, do not just tell the participants information or give them information without actually making them or assisting them do tasks and activities to ensure that they can understand and actually grow and actively learn. Now, on this URL, which you can access after this training today, is that they make a distinction between, in this pyramid, passive learning and active learning. And I think, as I said before, we want to move more from the top to the bottom. We want to move from passive learning to more of an active learning situation, whereby 90% of what they do, 70% of what they say and write. So that's what people generally remember learning activities, and the outcomes are equally being able to analyze, define, create, and evaluate. And I think we want to make sure that students in the different modules that they're going to cover are actively learning and doing assessments and practicals to ensure that they actually retain the information and can go out afterwards to analyze their own data instead of passively learning and just being able to define, just reading and hearing things and seeing without actually doing. We want them to do. We want them to be active. And I think you're going to be quite key in ensuring that that's the situation. Just a few tips and tricks that I actually read up online just before doing this video, and some of them I knew about. However, the tip number one that you can use is green and red sticky notes. So these are sticky notes. I will take another one off of here just to drive my point home. So this is red or pink, if you may, but I'll call it red for now. And this is green. So these sticky notes are used by facilitators in training situations whereby instead of asking students to raise their hands, because some people are shy, instead of asking them to raise their hands, you say, put green on your computer or on your laptop if you know that you are okay, that you don't need my help. So as you see on the slide, you stick it on. The student does this for you, so you know that green means I'm okay. I understand. I'm okay so far, and I understand what I'm doing. Whereas red or pink would be a flag to you as a facilitator to say, come and assist me. And it has so many benefits and gains in that students are able to continue working while you're walking around looking at who needs help. And instead of the shy ones not being able to ask for help, it's more discreet and they're able to find help as soon as possible. So this is tip number one, that in your own local classroom, give out 2 sticky notes to students, a pink and a red, and explain what they both mean. And it also makes sure that there's no noise. So instead of someone saying, calling you facilitator, or either raising their hand or shouting your name, they discreetly just stick it on the computer, and you are aware of what they need. Tip number 2 or trick that you could use is take it slow and explain step by step. I think for me, I'm by nature a very fast and loud-spoken person, but when I teach, I do try and speak slowly, and it's not even in a condescending way, but it's making sure that you don't just, shut down people's faces. It's being cognizant of the next person. So the way you speak to people and answer questions matters. A bit of kindness and sensitivity goes a long way. Remember back to when you started out in bioinformatics. So although you are more advanced and the participants are still beginning and doing the basics of bioinformatics, you do have to be respectful. You do have to remember to be sensitive. You do have to be empathetic. You do have to be aware of how you speak to people. Because I think at times, as human beings, communication is one of the things that leads to conflict if not done properly. So I asked you kindly to try and take it slow and explain step by step. Tip number 3 would be gamification. For recap, so if you want to help students remember what they just covered, make a list of concepts or keywords and write it down on a whiteboard or flip chart. You may also have cards stuck on the wall of the classroom with terms written on them. Throw a light or soft object to a participant who will catch the object and stand up. Pick a term from the list and explain its meaning or usage in a few sentences, not more than 20 to 30 seconds. After the explanation, the participant will throw the object to another participant, continue until the end of the list. Again, I didn't make this up. I found this on this URL that you can follow if you want to know more about the Gulbenkian training program in bioinformatics, #Elixir. So an example of a soft object is this stress ball that won't hit anyone if you were to throw it at them. But again, this is just a tip and a trick and you don't have to do it. But I think I would suggest that you use some of these because they're quite effective. They've been proven by research to work. So instead of, I'm not saying throw pens at people, but soft items like paper that you rolled and you actually warn people to pay attention and to be awake and agile and be able to catch. Perhaps if you throw this stress ball at them, they'll be able to catch it and it's their turn to answer a question. Encourage more advanced participants to help people next to them. So in every classroom, let's say there's 20 students, about 5 or however many, there'll be those students that are star students that are able to catch on to concepts and practicalities quite easily and fast, and ask them to assist other students, because what that's going to do is that it's going to make them feel more part of the class and useful as well. But again, it's being careful as to how you navigate that, because you don't want to make other students feel like they're slow or they're dumb for not being able to understand as the other students. So even in how you interact, you have to be quite careful. But I mean, I do encourage that you encourage more advanced participants to help people next to them, so that there's also a sense of camaraderie and community amongst the students and participants. Don't munch in a bunch. It's a bit funny, I find, but it's actually, I've seen in classrooms where there's a group of facilitators, they tend to stand together, right, at the back, and expect students to raise their hands. And again, I advise against making students raise their hands, rather give them sticky notes to use. So instead of standing or huddling yourself or munching in a bunch and being quite intimidating to students, we encourage, or I rather encourage you to separate out and even walk around in a non-intimidating manner around the room, making sure that all the students understand their work, and that they know that you're available, and that they can ask a question whenever they need to. For more tips and tricks, please go to these URLs that you can find on different websites. And if you can't find them, to tell me and I can copy and paste these into a Word document and PDF them to you. However, do try and access them at some point so that you can actually see, because I mean, I'm pressed for time, so I do only cover the most important points, I believe.